Okay, well, this is the edge. This is the edge that I just cut. I had my square on there like this, and then I clamped it down here lightly. If you clamp it down too hard, you're going to break the glass. So you clamp it down lightly, and then I use my glass cutter like this to score the glass. And then I broke off these pieces. It came off in pieces. It did not come very cleanly. And then after that, there was sort of a rough edge. And so I had some, these are lineman's pliers, and they have a flat edge, and I actually nipped at this area and cleaned up the small pieces. And then I took my belt sander and I trimmed this edge here. In order to put my square on here, I'm going to have to get rid of this, some of this putty here that's hardened. It's really hard to get off without some sort of mechanical means. So I'm going to attempt to do that. When I got this window, it was all together like this. It was an old window, and what I did was, this was all joined together, and what I did was I took a hacksaw and went between the joints, like over here. Took a hacksaw, went between the joints, but I made sure that I didn't cut into the window, because that would break the window. And then I just used this hammer and banged them apart, banged the pieces apart, and then I took the glass out. Fortunately, it didn't break, but then I was able to cut it after that. Now, right along here, you can see where I've scored the glass on the other side. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to score it on this side too. Maybe that'll make it break cleaner. So I'm going to clamp my square back to where it was, and then we'll score this side also. I've already sprayed a little bit of oil along this edge here, because that's where my glass cutter is going to be. And then I clamped it here and over here. I always hold on to this end of it so it doesn't move. I don't know if you heard that, but it cracked a little bit. Yeah, it cracked. It's too big of a crack. I'm going to have to do something else now. Well, I had a lot of trouble with that glass. Broke it, so I decided to go with acrylic, and that's what we're going to use now. So I'm going to clamp this on here, making sure it's square first. We're going to use a different tool for this operation. Acrylic is a little bit more forgiving, a lot easier to work with. So I lined up my marks, and we're going to use a different tool. This is a cutter. I'm not sure exactly what kind of cutter this is called, but the tool is shaped like this. And this blade here I bought, and I think you can still get these. These are actually for a utility knife, but I just added my own handle. But I could have used a utility knife. So on this one, you take the tool like this, put it on your mark. You have to go this way, in this direction first, and then go to this other way. And you have to pull slightly toward your square, otherwise it'll wander off if you don't. Once you score it once, usually it'll be okay after that. But you still have to point your tool slightly toward the square. In other words, my handle is pointed toward the square. I've seen people use a utility knife to do this, so I guess you could. Now take that plastic off before you break it. You can cut it with the plastic on, but you can't break it with the plastic on there. Won't break cleanly. It's kind of hard to get this plastic off of there. And if you remember, I scored it on the other side, not this side here. I'm going to line it up here on my bench. I'm going to get a board. I'm going to get a board that's fairly straight. I'm going to look down it, sight down it. This one is not straight at all. This one's a little bit straighter. This is actually holly, very expensive wood. put this right on top. And we'll try to break it. Now, try something else here. I use this tool here. This is actually for sheet metal, but it fits, so I'm using it. There you go. Well, the end result is that this fits in there kind of snugly, but it does fit in. And then I made a plywood back right here, and this is probably slightly over 1/8 of an inch, if not exactly 1/8. And then I'm going to put clips here to hold this in, to hold this all together. This is my crosscut sled. I've got a runner that fits into the groove of the table saw, the miter slot, and then I've got another runner over on this side that rides against this area here to keep everything square. And if you look at this board that I just sawed, it's square. A lot of these people on the internet make a crosscut sled and they put one fence here and then they put another one here. Well, you can only get so much between here and here. What's better is to have one fence. I can get a full sheet of plywood here on this one if I had to. They can't do that because they have two fences. The reason why people put two fences is some people say it's for safety reasons, or because they don't really know what they're supposed to do, but it's a matter of preference, how you want your workspace and how you want your tools. But in any case, I'm going to create a rabbet on the end of this board here. Okay, I'm going to show you how to hang a picture. First of all, you drill a hole right here. It's up to you where you want to drill it. Then you take one of these screw eyes like this, and screw it in with vice grips. Screw it in straight. So that it will hold the picture and then make sure that this is turned slightly, not so that it is parallel with this edge, but so it is turned slightly. Okay, like that. There, you can get a good picture of it now. Okay, then this, you're going to cut this wire, cut it with a chisel and a hammer and an anvil. Alright, something hard like a piece of steel. Put your chisel on there, put this in there between the chisel and the hard surface and hit it with your hammer. It might take a couple minutes. Then you're going to take this, put it like this. Now there's several ways you can do this. You can wrap it around like that. You can take your pliers and twist it. I suppose there are other ways to do it. Now this screw eye, as it's called, this one particular one, the center line of it is 2 3/8 from the edge. So you're going to measure over here 2 3/8. Check it again. Measure twice, cut once. Measure twice. Alright, make sure that you figure out where the center line is, the center of it. It's 3/4 inch from this edge to the screw eye. It's 1 3/8 from here to here. Do the same on the other side. And drill your hole. Don't drill it too deep. Drill it just barely enough to get it in there, to get the screw eye in there. I probably did not even go 1/4 inch. Take your screw eye, put your vice grips on it, make sure it's centered in your vice grips, just like that. Take your wax, put some on the threads, soap, wax, lubricant, and then screw it in square to the surface. And I'm taking it down far enough right to the surface of your picture frame. Again, angle it out like that. Take this, I cut it long on purpose. I want it to hang something like that. Take this end, wrap it around here,